Okay, so the next product we're going to look at is the VR750 twin mortar raking blades from Marcrists. So now we're going to have a look at the side profile of the VR750 and compare it to the standard MR350. You'll notice with the MR350 6mm segment thickness there, you'll see it takes all the mortar away. Yep, one pass, no problem. Takes the full volume of mortar out of the joint, no problem. Issue with this is over time the grinder gets tired, the bearings get warm because the blades are thicker, and it's just maximum power on the angle grinder at all times. Compare that to the VR750 twin blades, you'll see much less material being removed. So each blade completely thin compared to the MR350. So again, less power, less dust, less pressure on the angle grinder, and less fatigue to the operator as well. Okay, let's look at some more features with the VR750. So we said before, twin blade system. So what does that mean in total? So compared to with the normal mortar raker, you're buying the mortar raker for the thickness of the joint. With the VR750, it's actually 3 blades for the price of 1. So how does it work? So if we lift off the top blade, you'll see there's a locking flange in the middle. When you buy the kit, you also get 2 other locking flanges in the kit. So you get a 5mm, a 6mm, and then also the 8mm for the 8mm joints there. So like I said before, 3 blades for the price of 1, so 3 thicknesses. So no matter which property you're going to, if it's a modern property, an older property, you've always got the solution for the job in hand. Okay, so one final feature we're going to be looking at with the VR750 is the core protection. So what I mean by the core is the blade core. So you'll see with the VR750 we actually have diamond protection. So what is the difference between that and say the MR750, which is a tungsten carbide protection, is a question we always get asked. So with the VR750 you'll see the protection is actually part of the cutting segment as well. So as well as protecting, it's also cutting. This gives it its extreme speed while cutting and keeps the blades nice and straight. Obviously, as we know with mortar, it's very abrasive and very aggressive, and it would eat away at the blade core if there was no protection there. If we compare that to tungsten carbide, you'll see with the standard mortar raking blade, the segments do the grinding, the cutting. Then the tungsten protection is much narrower on this blade. So all the tungsten protection is doing is protecting the blade core. It doesn't have any effect while cutting. Okay, in this video we're going to be fitting the VR750 twin mortar raking blades from Marcrists into the CRDC 125T guard. Okay, the first step, once again we need to add the extension flange onto the grinder. Okay, the next step, we need to add one of the flanges into the centre of the VR750 blades. So either the 5, the 6 or the 8mm flange. So obviously for whichever width you're cutting, add the correct flange appropriate to the width you're cutting. So for this one we're going to do the 5mm. So locate the 5mm into the grooves. Add the top blade, like so, just press down and lock together. Slide the blades in and just locate them onto the flange. Okay, the next phase we just need to add the nuts, just lift it through the guard. Lock it into place, rotate it down, like so. Use a spindle lock. Make sure the blades are sitting nice and tight. There we can see, nice and tight. Put the cutting guard back. And locate down. Now we're going to add the VR750 blades to the machine once again, but this time we're going to use the 8mm flange. With the 8mm flange we have to fit the blade slightly different to the 5mm flange. Okay, so the first step, we need to add the flange onto the bottom blade, ensuring it's in position, like so. Now we just add the first flange, slide it over, drop it onto the flange, ensuring it's tight down, like so. Okay, now we've added the bottom blade, now we need to add the top blade. So we have to slide this in through the guard, up and over the flange. A little bit of juggling to drop it into position. Like so, sometimes it just moves out. Okay guys, we've added the top blade. We made sure everything's secure and everything's aligned. Now we just need to add the top flange. This time we're going to be putting the top flange into the grinding position. So, face down, like so. So we slide it in. A little bit fiddly once again, but it's okay. Slide it in position. Rotate it down. Once again, use the spindle lock and the pin spanner. Lock it into position. There we go. Slide the guard up. Lock it down into position.